passion, I thought it died.
He hated the song, called it morbid, walked out of the studio. That was George Jones, the man many call the greatest country singer who ever lived. And the song he refused to record became the greatest country song ever made. The 1980s were a different world. Dusty radios, smoky bars, songs that hit you like a memory you didn't know you had. But behind the music that defined a generation, there were rejections, breakdowns, and moments Nashville completely got wrong. These are the 10 country songs that almost didn't happen and ended up changing everything. Number 10, Lookin' for Love, Johnny Lee, 1980. Johnny Lee had been kicking around the Texas honky-tonk circuit for years before 1980. He was 34 years old, playing second banana at Mickey Gilley's famous club in Pasadena, Texas. And most people in Nashville had never heard his name. Then a Hollywood film crew rolled in. Urban Cowboy, the 1980 John Travolta movie set at Gilley's Club, needed a soundtrack. And Lee was right there. His song, Lookin' for Love, was recorded specifically for the film, and when it dropped as a single just days after the movie opened in June 1980, nobody quite knew what to expect. The truth is, Johnny Lee had been trying to crack the country charts for almost a decade. He'd released singles in the early 70s that went nowhere. His label had let him go. By his own admission, he was this close to giving up and going back to hauling equipment. So why would this be any different? Here's why. The movie was everywhere. Millions of Americans walked out of the theater with that melody stuck in their heads. Radio stations were already fielding requests before the single was even officially at retail.
I did everything I could to get me through the night.
The song climbed to number 1 on the Billboard Hot Country Singles chart and crossed over into the top 10 of the Billboard Hot 100, a pop crossover that Lee had never come close to before.
I discovered you. Yeah, you.
It sold over 1 million copies. It became his biggest hit, his only number 1. And it arrived not because of Nashville's strategy or label promotion,
I don't know where it started,
but because a movie camera pointed itself at a Texas dance floor at exactly the right moment.
for love in all the wrong places.
Johnny Lee never had another song like it. Sometimes, the whole thing comes down to being in the right bar when the cameras show up.
Or wherever it might end.
Number 9, 9 to 5, Dolly Parton, 1980.
Yawn and stretch and try to come to life.
Dolly Parton wrote this song on a movie set, tapping her acrylic nails together on her fingers like typewriter keys, because she didn't have a guitar handy.
9 to 5 for service and devotion.
She wrote it for a film she was starring in the comedy 9 to 5, alongside Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin. Parton was already a major star. She had crossover ambitions. She had Hollywood calling. And still, not everyone was sure this track would work. It was too funny, too blunt, too political for some country radio programmers in 1980. A song openly calling out workplace sexism, bosses who steal credit, women who can't get ahead. There were real conversations at radio stations about whether the subject matter was too edgy for the format. Here's what happened anyway. The film opened in December 1980. The song was inescapable. It hit number 1 on 3 separate charts simultaneously: the Billboard Hot 100, the Hot Country Singles Chart, and the Adult Contemporary Chart. The first song in history to do that. Parton was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Original Song and walked away with Grammy Awards for Best Female Country Vocal Performance and Best Country Song.
You're just a step on the boss man's ladder, but you got dreams he'll never take.
The song that some radio programmers worried was too political, it became an anthem. It became the anthem. 40-plus years later, it still gets played at office parties,
Give you credit, it's enough to drive you crazy.
retirement ceremonies, and feminist rallies the world over. Dolly tapped her fingernails together on a film set and accidentally wrote one of the most enduring songs of the entire decade.
Come to life. Jump in the shower and the blood's
Number 8. He Stopped Loving Her Today. George Jones, 1980.
Went half crazy. Now
Here's a fact that should stop you cold. When producer Billy Sherrill first played George Jones this song in 1978, Jones refused to record it. He called it,
no, she came back for her last time today.
and this is a direct quote from his autobiography, "Nobody'll buy that morbid son of a bitch." Then he left. Jones wasn't just being difficult, he was falling apart. By 1980,
Ah, but he still loved her through it all.
he hadn't had a number 1 hit in 6 years. His marriage to Tammy Wynette had collapsed in 1975. His abuse of alcohol and cocaine had become legendary,
And it kept running through my mind.
in Nashville, not the good kind of legendary. He was showing up to shows 3 hours late, or not at all. His nickname was No Show Jones.
Back again. They found
CBS Records was quietly deciding whether to renew his contract. And yet, Sherrill kept believing in this song. He carried around a notebook reportedly an inch thick,
62.
filled with rewrites, revisions, alternate verses. He and the songwriters, Bobby Braddock and Curly Putman, spent 2 years reworking it.
It placed a reef upon.
Jones couldn't even learn the melody. He kept accidentally singing it to the tune of Chris Christopherson's Help Me Make It Through the Night. The recording was pieced together over months, sometimes just a few lines at a time, because Jones couldn't get through the whole thing. When they finally finished it, Jones listened to the playback, the strings swelling, the spoken word recitation at the funeral.
But I didn't see no
The devastating final image of a man whose love only ended when his life did, and he wept. Then he looked at Sherrill and said, "Nobody'll buy that." April 14th, 1980.
He was all dressed up.
The single drops. It shoots to number 1 on the Billboard Hot Country Singles Chart. It stays on the charts for 19 weeks. It wins the CMA's Song of the Year. Then it wins again the following year.
Go away.
The Grammy for Best Male Country Vocal Performance. The ACM's Single of the Year and Song of the Year. The Library of Congress preserved it in the National Recording Registry.
Time I'd seen him smiling you.
Rolling Stone named it among the 500 greatest songs of all time. And when George Jones died in April 2013, Alan Jackson sang it at his funeral. To put it simply,
He still preyed on his mind.
"I was back on top," Jones wrote later. Just that quickly. I don't want to belabor the comparison, but a 4-decade career was salvaged by a 3-minute song.
Found love letters by his bed.
He was right, and he was wrong too, because He Stopped Loving Her Today wasn't just a career rescue. It was and still is, the greatest country song ever recorded.
He had underlined in red.
Number 7. Could I Have This Dance? Anne Murray, 1980.
I fell in love with.
Anne Murray was already a superstar, a Canadian, a woman who'd crossed over to pop before crossover was even a strategy. And in 1980, she did it again. This time from the soundtrack of Urban Cowboy, the same film that launched Johnny Lee. But the story behind Could I Have This Dance is quieter than the others. No drama. No refusal. No addiction or breakdown. Just a song, so perfectly crafted, so achingly simple in its image, of a first dance becoming a lifetime. That it became the de facto wedding song of an entire generation. Not just in America, in Canada, Australia, church halls across Europe. Couples who'd never set foot in a Texas honky-tonk slow dance to it at their receptions. The song hit number 1 on the Hot Country Singles chart in late 1980. Murray earned a Grammy nomination, but the real victory was cultural. The slow, quiet colonization of every wedding playlist. Across the English-speaking world. Some songs sell records. Some songs become part of the architecture of people's lives. This one became a ritual.
I'll always remember.
Number 6. Islands in the Stream. Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton, 1983. Kenny Rogers hated this song. Not disliked, hated. After 4 days in a Los Angeles recording studio with producer Barry Gibb. Yes, that Barry Gibb. From the Bee Gees, Rogers told him flat out, "Barry, I don't even like this song anymore." And that, right there, should have been the end of it. Here's what you need to understand about 1983. The Bee Gees had written this track, originally titled after a Hemingway novel, intending it for either Diana Ross or Marvin Gaye. In a soul R&B style. Neither version happened, so Gibb pivoted, reworked it, and handed it to Rogers for a country pop album.
From one lover to another.
4 days later, Rogers was done, but Gibb wasn't. He had one idea left. Dolly Parton happened to be in the same recording complex that day, in a studio downstairs.
Making love with each other.
Gibb told Rogers they needed a female voice. Rogers told his manager, Ken Cragen, to go find her. Cragen went down to the lobby, caught Dolly before she left.
Go down, too deep in love and we got nowhere.
And asked if she'd come upstairs. She walked in. She started singing, and the song Rogers had spent 4 days growing to despise, suddenly became something else entirely.
From one lover to another.
Released in August 1983, Islands in the Stream knocked Bonnie Tyler's Total Eclipse of the Heart off the top of the Billboard Hot 100. It hit number 1 on the Hot Country Singles chart.
Islands in the stream, that is why.
And the Adult Contemporary chart simultaneously. It sold over 2 million copies. Rogers and Parton won the ACM Single of the Year, the American Music Award for Favorite Country Single.
Everything means nothing if you got no.
It remains one of the most beloved duets in the history of popular music. All of it. Because Dolly Parton happened to be in the building. The song Kenny Rogers couldn't stand.
rely on each other. Someone love.
The one written for an artist who'd already passed away turned into the defining moment of two careers. Not bad for a Tuesday afternoon in LA. If these stories are hitting different,
Real thing. But
if you're remembering where you were the first time you heard some of these songs, go ahead and subscribe. There's a lot more where this came from, because the next story, this next one might be the one that surprises you most.
that is what we are, no one in between.
Number 5. Why Not Me? The Judds, 1984. Naomi and Wynonna Judd drove to Nashville in 1983 in a battered car with a demo tape and almost nothing else. Mother and daughter. No label, no connections, no industry friends. They auditioned for RCA Records by performing in a hallway. The label signed them anyway. And in 1984, their second single, Why Not Me, a scrappy, foot-tapping ballad written by Harlan Howard, Sonny Throckmorton, and Brent Maher, hit number 1. Then came the nominations. Then the awards. The Judds went on to have 23 number 1 singles before a devastating diagnosis of hepatitis C forced Naomi off the road in 1991. With a farewell tour that drew 200,000 fans over 61 shows. But in 1984, they were still the women who'd auditioned in a hallway, still unknown. Still being told that a mother-daughter duo was a novelty, not a career. Why Not Me was the question they were already asking Nashville. Turns out, the answer was nobody.
But don't you know this country girl's still free?
Number 4. On the Other Hand, Randy Travis, 1985/1986.
And when I first
Here's a man who washed dishes for a living. Randy Travis, born Randy Trawick in Marshville, North Carolina, moved to Nashville in 1982.
lovers games, I'd love to.
He was 23 years old, already rejected by every label in the city, at least once. The verdict was always the same. Too country, Nashville in the early 80s.
I've got to hand it to you, girl.
Wanted pop crossover, slick production, synthesizers. Randy Travis sounded like he'd walked straight out of 1955, and they didn't know what to do with him.
But on the other hand,
So he took a job at a supper club called the Nashville Palace, cooking, washing dishes, and occasionally performing for whoever showed up.
on the other hand,
He recorded an independent album under the name Randy Ray. It went nowhere. His manager, Lib Hatcher, kept fighting. She eventually got Warner Brothers to listen.
to remind
Martha Sharp at the label heard something nobody else would and signed him on February 14, 1985, Valentine's Day. A love story, in its way. His first single,
there's a golden band.
On the Other Hand, was released that summer. It peaked at number 67 on the charts. A quiet, decent debut, nothing more.
On one hand, I could stay.
And that's when everything fell apart, or so it seemed. Warner Brothers moved on, released a second single, 1982, which climbed to number 6. Suddenly there was momentum. And then the label made a decision that almost never happens. They re-released On the Other Hand, the same song. the one that had already charted and failed. It went to number 1.
I count the reason I could stay with you.
Randy Travis released his debut album Storms of Life in June 1986. It became the first male country debut album ever to go multi-platinum, 3 million copies.
And hold you close.
The man who couldn't get a label to listen for 10 years had just rewritten the rules for all of Nashville, and Garth Brooks would later stand on stage and say,
Hold you close to me all night long.
Without blinking, this man single-handedly saved country music. That was the guy washing dishes at the Nashville Palace 4 years earlier.
So many lovers.
Number 3, Grandpa, Tell Me About the Good Old Days. The Judds, 1986.
When the line between right and wrong.
The Judds appear twice on this list, and there's a reason. Their 1986 single Grandpa was something different from the energetic pop country they'd launched with. Quieter, more nostalgic. A granddaughter asking her grandfather to describe a time when families stayed together, promises meant something, and nobody had to lock their doors at night. It shouldn't have worked as a radio single.
Families really bow their heads to pray.
It was sentimental in a way that music programmers usually hedge against. It won the Grammy for Best Country Song in 1987, and it hit a nerve so deep in the American psyche, a collective mourning for something lost.
Stand beside each other, come what may.
Something intangible, a way of life that had already slipped away, that it made people cry in their cars, on the way to work, before they could even explain why.
Everything is changing fast.
That's not just a good song. That's a song that arrives at exactly the right cultural moment and gives people the words they didn't know they needed.
We call it progress.
Number 2, Forever and Ever, Amen. Randy Travis, 1987.
Well, I'd love you anyway. They say time can play tricks.
Two songwriters sitting on a porch in Nashville in 1986. Paul Overstreet and Don Schlitz, scribbling on legal pads as the sun went down.
They say time can play tricks on memory.
Working by candlelight as the night came in. Schlitz had mentioned something offhand, something his young son said after bedtime prayers each night.
This love that I give is gonna be.
He'd finish praying, turn to his mother, and say, "Mommy, I love you forever and ever, amen." That was it. That was the whole song, right there.
I've already forgotten every woman.
They finished it that night. Randy Travis had already broken through with Storms of Life. Nashville was paying attention now. Warner Brothers was watching. And when they heard this song,
As old men sit and talk about the weather.
the steel guitar, the dobro, that baritone rolling through a vow that sounded less like a pop lyric and more like a covenant, they knew it was something extraordinary.
But you, oh darling, I'm gonna love you forever.
It was the first song to spend 3 consecutive weeks at number 1 on the Hot Country charts in 7 years. The Always and Forever album it launched sold over 5 million copies. It won the Grammy for Best Country and Western Song.
Again, I'm gonna love.
The ACM and CMA Awards for Single of the Year. It became the most requested wedding song in America. And on a Saturday Night Live stage in 1987, Randy Travis performed it for a national television audience. A man who'd been washing dishes in Nashville 5 years earlier, now standing in Rockefeller Plaza, singing a prayer about permanent love to a country that desperately wanted to believe in it. Nobody who heard him that night forgot it. Number 1. He Stopped Loving Her Today. George Jones, 1980.
Went half crazy now and then.
Wait, didn't we already cover this one? Yes and no, because He Stopped Loving Her Today isn't just on this list. It is this list.
He stopped loving.
It is the reason the question of greatest country song of the 1980s has only one honest answer, no matter who you ask. We told you the story, the refusals, the notebook full of rewrites.
Still loved her through it all.
The recording pieced together over 2 years. The man who couldn't hold a melody and kept singing it to the wrong tune. We told you about George Jones weeping when he heard the finished mix. About him walking out of the studio saying nobody would buy it. But here's what we didn't tell you. The week He Stopped Loving Her Today went to number 1.
Back again.
George Jones had not had a solo chart topper in 6 years. His label was deciding whether to drop him. His personal life had been a decade of destruction.
If she would. And it kept.
The man widely considered the greatest country singer who ever lived was, by 1980, widely considered finished. And then this.
Dated 1962.
One song, 1 second take, one producer who wouldn't let go. The song swept every major award in country music in 1980.
Soon they'll carry him away.
And then swept them again in 1981, the only song to ever win the CMA's Song of the Year back-to-back. It's been preserved by the Library of Congress. Rolling Stone calls it one of the greatest songs ever recorded.
I went to see my friend today.
In any genre, and in a genre that has always been about telling the truth about human pain, about love that doesn't go away, about grief that can't be reasoned with. No song has ever done it better.
He stopped loving.
George Jones died on April 26, 2013. He was 81. At his funeral, Alan Jackson stood up and sang it. The whole room fell apart.
Prayed on his mind.
At the 2013 CMA Awards, George Strait and Alan Jackson sang it as a tribute, two of the biggest names in country music, standing side by side, honoring the man who proved
Went half crazy now and then.
that a song about a man dying of a broken heart could be the most alive thing you'd ever heard. He stopped loving her today. 6 words, the whole story.
Kept hoping she'd come back again.